Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hello everyone and welcome to Ask Rob and Rob, the show where you get your questions in, normally property related, and we give you our answers. This week is no different, so before we get into those questions, let's give you a quick reminder at how you can get involved.
Yes, just give us a call, 013 808 0035, that's 013 808 0035, or go over to propertyhub.net/ask. Either way, leave us a voicemail and get your question to us, just like Michelle.
Hi Rob and Rob, how have I only just found your website? You are both so motivating and knowledgeable. I'm learning so much and I feel even more determined, inspired and brave than I was before. You guys rock. So I'll try and keep it brief. My partner and I have money to invest and I feel that for now, or maybe January 2021, is the time to do it. We are unmarried at present and I am currently a stay-at-home mum of 3 very young children, but have had a long history as a professional before this. I don't have our current mortgage in my name, and so it makes sense for me to be the one to purchase the property to save on stamp duty. Also, my partner is a 40% taxpayer, and therefore it makes sense for any rental income to come through me as well. But how do I get a buy-to-let mortgage with no income? If we were married, I think we could get around the income tax side of things by using my allowance, but we would still have to pay the surcharge on the stamp duty land tax, as my partner obviously owns our current house. Please help. Which would be the best thing for us to do?
Thank you, Michelle. Really interesting question. So how do you get a buy-to-let mortgage with no income? With great difficulty is the answer to that. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I would say there'll be very, very few lenders who would consider the idea. Even though affordability on buy-to-let lending doesn't work in the same way as it does with your own home, where the amount you can borrow is determined by your income, most lenders do have a minimum threshold of normally around £25,000, but it varies. Does that mean that the dream is over for you? Well, no, because it is possible for a property to be owned by both of you and your partner, but for the majority of the rental income to come to you. So what that would mean is that you and your partner would both buy the property would be in both of your names, the mortgage would be in both of your names, which means you'd get to use your partner's income to qualify for that mortgage, but then you'd elect with HMRC for the rental income to not be split between you 50-50, but to be favoured towards you, maybe 90-10. Now we're straying into specialist territory here. I am not a tax expert, I can't give tax advice, and there'll be certain conditions you need to meet and certain rules you need to stick to. So you should definitely go and speak to an accountant, get expert advice, explain your situation to them, and get them to talk you through your options. But what I can say for the purposes of this podcast is that there are options that you probably weren't aware of, and the situation might look better than you think. So go take that advice, decide what the best option is for you. With that advice, go speak to some mortgage brokers, line things up on that front, and then you can go for it. And good luck with it.
Good luck, Michelle. Time for our next question now, which comes in from Alex.
Hi, Rob and Rob. Alex here. Cheers for the cracking value adds on the podcasts. They've been a massive help in assisting me on my property journey in recent years. So my question is about property investment in Cardiff, where I both reside and heavily invest in, believing it has all of the property fundamentals you guys talk about in a strong way, both presently and looking ahead into the future for various reasons. With that said, I can't recall any podcasts where you've spoken about Cardiff or indeed any other Welsh towns and cities. So is this just down to the fact you simply don't see Cardiff and places in Wales as good investment areas, or that you do, but just believe there's better opportunities in other cities that you've spoken about plenty, such as Manchester, Nottingham, Liverpool, etc.? It would be great to hear your thoughts and critique, and I'm sure there are fellow Welsh listeners and Welsh investors to the podcast that would love to hear the same and give it a bit of love. Hopefully look forward to hearing from you. Many thanks.
Thank you, Alex. No, genuinely, thank you. I'm so glad you've asked this question because now we haven't talked about Cardiff or Wales much in the podcast, and I think we should, because actually Cardiff is somewhere that recently I've had my eye on, just keeping watch on what's happening in the market there and potentially looking to do something over there with Property Hub Invest, because I do like it as a market. The fundamentals are clearly there. The returns are also reasonable. So why haven't we talked about it? Well, probably we've been a little unfair, but the main reason is it's not that Cardiff has been a bad option, it's just that there's been other options out there where we've felt there's been more opportunity. And on the whole, those beliefs have been backed up by the resulting data to show that places like Nottingham, Liverpool, Leeds, Manchester doing really well and outperforming the likes of Cardiff, certainly over the last 12 months as we record this. But the past does not mean it's going to be replicated in the future. And Cardiff is somewhere that you may hear us mention, or certainly myself, on a future predictions episode at some point. So if it's an area that you're interested in, then do proceed. There's no alarming reason why you shouldn't look there. The general advice for any town or city that you go to, particularly if you're not familiar with it, and if you hear it on the podcast, don't just steam in and start buying up stuff. If you can, always invest in the best areas. The amount of times investors have come to me after hearing on the podcast that they should invest in Liverpool, Manchester, wherever, and then I've gone in and bought the cheapest property in the whole area, and then asking me is it a good investment, it leads to a difficult conversation afterwards. So for Cardiff, do your research, don't rush in, but don't rule it out, and good luck.
Well, that's us done for another episode of Ask Rob and Rob. Thank you to Michelle and Alex for those questions. Please do follow in their fine footsteps and send your question our way. You can just go to propertyhub.net/ask and leave us a voicemail there. We'll be back with 2 more questions next week, maybe yours, who knows. But before that, we'll see you on Thursday for the Property Podcast. Until then, enjoy your week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.